did you guys start this this Blue Jitsu thing?
So I worked at a different agency in Kentucky before I went to my current one. And so I knew who Chris Sizemore was. It's me, Chris Sizemore, and Sam Ferguson are the three that are behind the Blue Jitsu idea. So when I came to my current agency, I actually met Chris. He was already working there. We started training together. I went up to Chicago in 2012 I was on our accident reconstruction team and went up to Chicago Northwestern University for some work training and ended up going over to Carlson Gracie Jr.'s headquarters while I was up in Chicago, and that's where I met Sam. He gave me a very nice visitor's welcome to their gym up there and throttled me. But through jiu-jitsu, through that, we became really good friends.
Yeah.
And, that's kind of the messed up relationship that we have with each other. I hadn't been beat like that by somebody with similar rank to me in a long time, and he knew I was the new guy coming in and put it on me. And so we stayed in contact, and I knew he'd been trying to become a police officer in Illinois for a while, and he's like, man, I hate Chicago. I love bourbon and hunting. I want to be a cop. And I was like, buddy, I've got the job for you. Like, come down to Kentucky. So he came down about 4 years ago, got hired on. And then just through training together, the three of us, we're like, man, more officers need to know this. Like, because we had all used it, even without having our jiu-jitsu curriculum, we had all used this stuff whenever we've gotten in encounters at work. It just becomes natural when you get in a hands-on environment to go back to what you know. And what we knew was jiu-jitsu. And so we just kind of got together and like, we should look at trying to get more officers involved, trying to get more officers exposed. And so we came up with, actually Chris, I'll give him credit, came up with the Blue Jitsu name. He's like, we should do a seminar, just get some guys to come out and we'll just do like a jiu-jitsu class. I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. And, we tied it to the blue line and Blue Jitsu and all that. So the first seminar that we did actually wasn't defensive tactics based at all. It was just, here's some jiu-jitsu techniques, kind of beginner's level stuff. Here's, we had an idea where we wanted to go with it defensive tactics wise, but we hadn't developed anything yet. And we got some good feedback from it. And the longer we've been doing it and then actually have developed a defensive tactics curriculum that we can work through, and we've stress tested every technique in the curriculum. We've eliminated some stuff. We've had some stuff that we thought were good ideas that were like, this doesn't work under pressure, or this doesn't work with a belt on or boots on or whatever it may be. And we just kind of ran with it from that first seminar. And here we are. We're about just a little over 2 years into it and growing. We have more people from out of state than in state today for the first time. That was it. Just guys that wanted to expose other officers to jiu-jitsu because we think it can help you, whether it be mentally or physically or hopefully a combination of both.
What was the training like when you went through the police academy? What was the training like? And with your knowledge now, like, what is it really lacking in and what does it need?
So when I originally went through the police academy in 2009, and we used a system that was called PPCT, pressure point control techniques.
I've heard about that.
It's funny. It was.
What's that?
It's like pressure point. Like I had.
There were 7 different pressure points.
Yes, and so a police officer that's been retired that I knew told me about this, and I was like, I tried not to laugh. Because I was like, are you serious?
It's bad.
Like
there's 7 different pressure points.
Liver 26, Chewy.
I'll get you into spleen number 5.
All right, sorry.
But no, you're fine. But no, it was, you got the pressure point under the nose. You've got the pressure point under the jaw. It was, if you have somebody on the ground and they're balled up and they're resisting, just use these pressure points and say, give me your hands. That was the bulk. Yeah. That was the bulk of our training.
So and therein lies the reason why people like they're like sitting here like trying to like poke this guy in his ribs and he doesn't comply. So they just start hammer fisting because like, I don't know what else to do.
Right. But if somebody comes up and they give me a pressure point, it's just gonna make me mad.
Yeah, just
right. Go back to when the white belt comes in, they start digging your elbow in your thigh. Oh, yeah. Right. Like all that means is I'm gonna rip your arm off.
Right.
That it's not gonna make me open my guard at this point. Like it's just gonna piss me off. I'm gonna sweep you and I'm either gonna choke you or rip your arm off or whatever I choose to do at this point because that's just irritating. To think that is a practical control technique when you have somebody resisting arrest is a problem.
Especially when they're probably on drugs. And like literally they could be tased and still come forward. I mean,
or if you,
or even if they're not on drugs, if they're to the point where they're ready to fight a police officer, they're just in a different state of mind.
Yes, for sure.
And you have these things that we're being taught that we don't know any better at the time. And so that's what we're relying on. And then you go out in the street and you're like, oh, this backfired. and then you get into that conditioned black technique where I don't know what else to do. Mm-hmm. Now they did give a couple, I don't even remember what we had a ground class. But I couldn't even tell you one technique that was in it in 2009. It has slowly, I mean, it might be like one guard pass and just lay on top of them till anyone else gets there kind of thing. But that was the training that we had. And then we did a lot of baton strikes, a lot of working on taser draws. And that was kind of your self-defense. And I'll tell you, in 11 years, I have never hit anybody with my baton. All it's been used for is like poke dead animals out of the road and, knock on some doors with a little bit more bang. Because my fear is if I pull my baton out, I'm bringing a weapon into the occasion in close range. Taser, I can create some distance, right? And baton and taser for us are the same level of force. They're both intermediate weapons, right? It's not striking somebody, but it's not going to our firearms. So those are considered the same level. But my fear always was if I bring my baton out and somehow I lose control of it, I've now introduced a weapon in the scenario. Now, if that guy gets the baton and starts swinging it at me, well, now we're up to a deadly force situation because I brought my baton out.
Yeah.
So I've never used it. I've seen officers that have used it very effectively. When we were doing some training with some newer officers the other day, and we have pads, but I took a baton strike above the pad. You get hit with it, it's going to work. It made me very unhappy and left a nasty welt. But to me, that's introducing a problem to the equation that doesn't need to be introduced.
Doesn't need to be there. Especially because you have the skills to deal without it.
Right. Mm-hmm. If I'm close range enough to you that I can hit you with a 3-foot baton, I'm close range enough to you that I can body lock you, take you down to the ground, and we can ride it out from there.
Yeah.
Now, again, that's my skill level and not the average, what I'll call the average officer skill level, which is why, again, I think training is very important because you can eliminate a lot of those problems.